About the new testing and quarantine rules in contiguous states, yesterday, just as with numerous times in the past, you referenced New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania. Yet news outlets appear to be unclear, as am I, about whether that includes Vermont and Massachusetts. Can you please clarify that for everybody?
All contiguous states. I was talking to a New York City outlet.
I see.
And I said, your market, if I recall correctly. It's all contiguous states. And let me say this about the travel policy. This is not only first, we had the list basically included almost all the states when we were done, right?
Right.
The list made sense when we started with one or two states. When every state is on the list, by definition, the list defeats its purpose. This approach is science-based. It can actually make it easier and safer to come and go, right? The list method was just a 14-day quarantine, which is very hard. Not only is it time-consuming, it's very disruptive. This way, test 3 days before you arrive. And by the way, you'd want to take a test anyway if you're about to travel, because if you're positive, you don't want to get on a plane and spread it. And if you're positive, you don't want to be traveling, right? You want to be taking care of yourself. So a test at least 3 days before. And then once you arrive, 3 days, and you test on the 4th. So not only is it safer and easier, it's what you would want to do anyway if you're traveling, right? Before you get on a plane, make sure you're well for your own well-being, and because you're going to be on a commercial flight and you don't want to infect dozens of people. And then once you land, you get off a flight, 3-day quarantine, which I think is reasonable, and then you take a test on the 4th day. So it's simpler, it's less time-consuming, it's safer, it's easier. And we now have the testing capacity that can handle it. That's something that we didn't have early on. On the contiguous states, we do urge that people should not do non-essential travel. You're also going to hear me say this 110 times. I'm worried about Thanksgiving. The spread is coming from small gatherings. It's not like when the virus first started and when we did the contact tracing, we could get it back to relatively isolated locations that were generating dozens of cases. These are relatively small gatherings, they're parties, they're family meals, etc. There's an attitude that since we're all in the same family, we're safe. Since we're good friends who've known each other a long time, that means we're safe. There's no correlation to that in science. I understand the human instinct. It's just not right. It's not correct. You have a Thanksgiving dinner with 7 people, you can still be infected. And Thanksgiving, I understand this has been a long time, and I understand COVID fatigue, and I understand, well, I'm just going to be with my family. I think you're going to see the number increase even more after Thanksgiving. And it's going to be coming into December, when you run into the flu season, etc. And I think we have to double down on the precautions, even though it is Thanksgiving. I understand the symbolism of Thanksgiving. I appreciate the desire to be with family. But I really urge people to think twice this year. But you'll hear me say that again in the coming weeks.